Hi, welcome to lesson 27, session 4. Today is our refine session. We're taking everything that we have learned over the past week, and we're putting it all together in, as I always say, in our nice, neat little package. So we're going to go ahead and be working in our Ready Classroom Math Workbook on pages 569 through page 572. So please go ahead and turn to page 569. All right, so we're on page 569. We have an example here, and we're actually going to use this example. We don't always use this, but in this case, we are using it. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you so that you can see what it looks like. So it says this: the line plot shows the weights of the burgers Mel made for a cookout. How many pounds of meat did she use to make all the burgers? So I went ahead and actually on yours, you're going to see that you just have tick marks with a 0, a 1/2, and a 1 whole. I went ahead and labeled the rest of the line plot. So go ahead and label the rest of your line plot. It really will help you. We don't actually need to solve this solution here because we don't need to do that. However, we do need to know all of these values to do number 1 on our page 569. So it says this: use the line plot in the example. Mel cuts the smallest burger. So here is our smallest burger. Mel cuts the smallest burger in half. What is the weight of the meat in each half? Show your work. So we want to know what is half of 1/8. Again, what is half of 1/8? You should know by now what that of means. You should do with those two fractions. Of means that we do a certain operation. So what is 1/2 of 1/8? And that answer is going to be, and the answer is going to be the answer of this problem. That's all you have to do. What is 1/2 of 1/8? All right, let's go ahead and go to page 570. On page 570, you can go ahead and start drawing your number line. We're labeling it from 14 to 18, and we're labeling the halves. Well, first we label our wholes, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Then we label our halves. And then finally, I put tick marks at the fourths. I didn't label the fourths, but I know that all of those tick marks are fourths. An animal doctor's scale weighs animals to the nearest 1/4 of a pound. The list below shows the weights in pounds of the last 10 dogs the animal doctor saw. So here are our weights. Create a line plot to show the data. So you're going to go ahead and draw your line plot. Then you're going to put X's at each of these values above the line plot. Make sure you give your line plot a label, and make sure you also label the units. Now, you need to make sure that this line plot is correct, because now we're going to look at that line plot from problem 2, and we're going to answer this question: which statement about the data is true? So you're going to read each of these statements and decide which of these statements is true. Which of these statements is true based off of the data that you put onto the line plot. Michelle chose A as the correct answer. If Michelle's correct, show me how she got that answer. If she's incorrect, tell me what you think Michelle may have done wrong. Number 4, Juan drives a race car. The race tracks vary in length. To prepare for the racing season, he records the lengths in miles of the tracks in the list shown below. Which line plot correctly shows the track data? So we have all of the data here. We have 1/4, 1/2, 3/8, 1/2, 1/4, 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/4, 3/4, 1/2, 7/8, 1/2, 3/4. So you're going to go and look and see which of these line plots correctly shows the data that we see here above. Then we're going to go to number 5. Number 5 says we're going to look at whichever one was right, whichever one you got correct. So if I were you, I would maybe check in with your teacher after you do this problem. If you're in my class, you just need to unmute yourself and double check that you know which one the answer is, because once you know which one the answer is, then you're going to use that information to tell me whether or not each of these statements are true or false. Go ahead and go to number 6. Number 6 says, Sarah owns Sarah's Hardware. She made the line plot below to compare the fuel tank capacity for several lawnmowers she sells. So we have a line plot that's labeled from 1 to 3, and then we have some values of the capacity. That means how much gas her lawnmower can hold. The first thing I want you to do is to label your line plot. Go ahead and label each of these tick marks. I think it's really going to help you so that you can see the scale of this line plot. So remember that you're going to go through, and I will help you out a little bit. Right here, halfway between 1 and 1.5 is 1 1/4. This is 2 and 1. Nope, that's a 1. That's 1 3/4. Excuse me. This is 2 1/4, and then 2 3/4. So that will probably help you to know what the scale is. Then I want for part A, it says, what is the most common capacity of the mower she sells? Which value do we have the most of? So you're not going to tell me the number of the mowers that have it. I want to know what is the gallons of what is the number on the line plot that has the most X's. That's what you're going to put here. Then for part B, it says Mark buys the lawnmower with the smallest tank capacity. That means the least tank capacity. He uses 3 full tanks of gas mowing in the summer. How much fuel does he use? Show your work. So you need to find which is the least value of all of these X's, which is the least value. And then you're going to multiply that times 3 since he uses 3 full tanks of gas. And then that's going to tell you how much fuel he uses. Finally, number 7 says, Jordan looks at this line plot above. He says the difference between the most common capacity, so that's the one that has the most X's. So the difference between the most common capacity and the least common capacity, the difference here, he says is 1/4 of a gallon. So is the difference between this value here and this value here 1/4 of a gallon? He says he knows the difference without subtracting. Explain Jordan's mistake. So it's not 1/4. Then find the actual difference between the measurements. So think to yourself, what is the scale of the line plot? That's going to tell you the difference between this tick mark and this tick mark once you know what the scale of the line plot is. And with that, that is it for today. You're going to just do those 6 problems or those 7 problems and then check in with your teacher. And as always, I will see you tomorrow.